On February 7, 2014, the 63rd expansion for Magic the Gathering, Born of the Gods, released. With it came 165 cards, including 5 reprints, and a continuation of the Theros story in card form. As such, Born of the Gods features the same top-down ancient Greek-themed design, complete with gods, heroes, monsters, and an emphasis on enchantments. As for the story, it's more or less the middle portion of the block's overall storyline as the planeswalker, Xenagos, plots and plans for ways to become a god himself and ruin the best laid plans of the plane's established pantheon, while Mogus, god of slaughter, sends armies of minotaurs against the human cities of Akros, Melidus, and Satessa, only to find stout resistance from not just each city's proud armies, but also from planeswalkers Elswith Tyrell and Ajani Goldmane. If you want to learn more about the story of Born of the Gods and, indeed, the entire Theros block itself, we recommend you take some time and check out our Theros video. As for this video, let's dive in to see what makes Born of the Gods tick as a Magic the Gathering set. Development for Born of the Gods was led by Tom Lapilli, whom had worked as a lead previously on sets like Magic 2012 and Dark Ascension. Design, a team which featured Magic head designer Mark Rosewater, was led by Ken Nagel.
So Ken Nagel he was the runner-up for the first Great Designer Search. Alexis Jansen won. Both Alexis and Ken got internships, and then Ken ended up turning his internship into a full-time job. Alexis also turned into a full-time job, but not in R&D. She's very, very involved in the digital side of things, in Magic Online. So Ken was in charge of Born of the Gods. So, Ken has really come to shine, and you'll see with Born of the Gods, he did an excellent job. Ken's just a good designer. One of the things you want to make sure on every design team is just have enough good designers that you know you'll get a lot of cards, and Ken is a card machine. So having Ken around is always useful, so it's fun watching your little ones grow up.
The set was sold in traditional booster packs, 5 intro packs, 1 event deck, and a fat pack. It also continued Hero's Path, which was a series of 9 challenges that Magic players could undertake as an official side event way of playing the Theros block. Born of the Gods represents the 4th through 6th challenges in the series. In terms of mechanics and themes, Born of the Gods continued its predecessor's lot of enchantment creatures and bestow, as well as devotion, heroic, and the now evergreen scry mechanic. New with Born of the Gods includes Inspired, an ability word that basically says whenever a card with Inspired is untapped, it does something as a triggered ability. For example, when the card Ferrisband Tromper becomes untapped, its Inspired ability puts a +1/+1 counter upon it. The other new mechanic is Tribute, which is something of a spin on Monstrosity from Theros. Creatures with the Tribute ability offer opponents a choice between the creature getting larger or doing something else that is either beneficial for its controller or adverse to the opponent. The card Ornitharch, for example, can either enter the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters upon it, making it a 5/5, or give you 2 1/1 white bird tokens with flying instead, whichever your opponent decides. Another theme that continued in Born of the Gods are the god cards themselves. While in Theros the gods were monocolored major gods, Born of the Gods, and its follow-up set, Journey into Nyx, instead have dual-colored minor gods, 5 in each set. In Born of the Gods, the roster consists of Afara, god of the Polis, Karametra, god of the Harvests, Mogus, god of Slaughter, Phoenix, god of Deception, and Xenagos, god of Revels. These allied colored gods are not the only cycle in Born of the Gods, by the way, as there are a total of 9 in the set altogether. Notable cycles in the set, other than those gods, include Archetypes, which are creatures that grant a keyword ability, such as flying or hexproof, to creatures you control, while removing that same ability from creatures your opponents control. Devotion spells, which scale according to your devotion. If you need to know more about devotion, we explain it in our Theros video. And Fated spells, which are rare instant spells that all cost, at minimum, 3 mana of a single color, and scry 2, in addition to whatever else that spell does when you play it on your turn. In terms of single cards, Born of the Gods is not exactly known as a powerhouse set. There are a handful of cards though worth a mention, including Brimaz, King of Oreskos. That was, at one time, a powerhouse aggro card in Standard. Courser of Crufix, a card advantage engine that was a staple in Standard at the time, and still sees occasional play in Modern and Pioneer today. Guild, a spot removal card that was the first ever printed to create a non-creature artifact token, something that's now commonplace thanks to Clue, Treasure, and food tokens. Kiora, the Crashing Wave, the first printing of the Planeswalker despite her introduction 2 years prior in Duels of the Planeswalkers 2012, which came out in June of 2011 for Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and Windows PC. Phoenix, God of Deception, which is a fairly popular commander for mill-based strategies that can technically go infinite with a card from the dark called Eater of the Dead. Satyr Wayfinder, a card that sees play in Modern and Pioneer as a way to fill one's own graveyard, and Spirit of the Labyrinth, often used as a one-of in Legacy and Modern Death and Taxes decks. As for the set's promotional cards, Born of the Gods has 5 pre-release promos, one for each color. Silent Sentinel, Arbiter of the Ideal, Eater of Hope, Forge Stoker Dragon, and Nessian Wild's Ravager. The set's launch promo is Tromocratus. A full art Kiora's Follower is its game day participation promo, with a game day top 8 finisher promo being a foil full art Pain Seer. Faded Conflagration is the set's buy a box promo. As for the overall reception for Born of the Gods, we'll let Magic head designer tell you how it went.
Born of the Gods was the middle set of our Theros block. It ended up being the worst received. I think what happened was we had tried to sort of make sure we had saved enough for the third set, because often we had problems with the third set. So this block ended up having a second set problem instead of a third set problem, because we saved a lot of stuff for the third set.
So what are your thoughts on Born of the Gods? Is it in your pantheon of godlike Magic the Gathering sets? Love it or hate it, let us know your opinion in the comments section. And please remember to hit those like and subscribe buttons and toss a buck in our Patreon tip jar to help support more videos like this one. Thank you for watching.